The Grand Canyon, with its many fascinating geological features, is one of the most amazing places on Earth. But one of the more unusual claims from within the canyon is that somewhere underground, there has been another advanced civilization that managed somehow to become lost to history. Some researchers claim that there's an enigmatic system of tunnels that hold evidence of an ancient Egyptian voyage to America. What is the truth of this story? Let's find out.
The Gazette carried an unusual story on its front page on the 5th of April 1909 titled Explorations in Grand Canyon. The scoop read like something from a fantasy or science fiction novel and would have certainly stirred the imaginations of its readers. The report stated that two archaeologists by the names of Professor S.A. Jordan and G.E. Kincaid claimed that they had found a vast cavern system deep within the Marble Canyon region of the Grand Canyon. This, they said, held evidence of an ancient lost civilization. The men claimed that the mysterious cavern was in an undisclosed area about 1,500 feet below ground. Continuing, they described the area as being virtually inaccessible and surrounded by forbidden wilderness. Upon entering the cavern, they came across tunnels, caves, and chambers that went every direction into the darkness as far as one could go. Great time and effort were put into the chiseling out of the stone, according to the two men. Closer inspection revealed that all of the many tunnels opened up into hundreds of chambers that had oval-shaped doorways. It seems that the chambers discovered would resemble the size of a living room in an average home today, and were also well ventilated by round holes that were chiseled through the walls into the passageways. All the walls were 3 foot 6 inches in thickness and carefully sculpted to almost perfect straightness, with the ceilings of many of the rooms converging into the centre. The side passages near the entrance ran at a sharp angle from the main hall, but toward the rear they gradually reached a right angle in direction. As if this wasn't strange enough, it seems that some of the items found within the caverns and tunnels included relics and artifacts that were not from the region or from the people inhabiting it. Kincaid speculated that this had to have been an unknown civilization from the Orient, as they came across what appeared to be a grand shrine full of weapons, various copper tools, idols, urns, and vases. It was also stated that they discovered something truly amazing 100 feet from the entrance in the cross hall that made them doubt their own eyes. It appeared to be a statue of the culture's god. It was sitting with its legs crossed and had what represented either a lotus flower or a lily in each hand, and the face of the effigy appeared to be oriental, almost resembling a Buddha. Although the scientists were unsure which religion or culture it belonged to, it seemed possible that it represented the people of Tibet. Surrounding this wonderful deity was a number of exquisite smaller figurines and statues that were carved out of what appeared to be marble. Including among them were some that were beautiful in design. Others were of persons with crooked necks, and all round were distorted symbols and shapes that were more than likely, they estimated, symbolized good and evil. On a raised platform were 2 large cacti with arms outstretched, and on each arm sat a god. All of these were exquisitely carved out of hand rock that resembled marble. On the opposite side of the chamber, they found some very interesting tools that were made of copper. This would lead one to conclude that the toolmakers had some knowledge of the lost art of hardening this metal. This chemical process has been sought for centuries without any results. In what was called the workroom, there was a bench going all the way around the chamber. On the workbench, there was charcoal and other materials that were more likely used in the process of hardening the copper to make the tools. There was also evidence that showed these ancients had the capacity to extract and smelt metals and ore, but there was no trace of how it was done or even where the ore originated. All of the rooms revealed so many artifacts and detail, and artistry of each piece was so intricate in design it seemed very bizarre indeed. Even the pottery vessels had been enamelled and glazed. In another passageway they found what they thought may have been at one time a small storehouse, as it appeared to be a granary of seeds of various kinds, not unlike those found in Oriental temples. They found another, larger storehouse, but they could not gain entry to it because it was at least 12 feet in height and could only be accessed from above. On the top edge of the room there was 2 copper hooks, which seemed to indicate that there had been a sort of ladder or climbing frame attached at one end. These granaries were rounded, and they speculated that the material that they used to construct it was like very hard cement. One of the most unusual things they discovered is what they described as a grey metal that resembled platinum. This puzzled the scientists as they could not definitively establish its identity. Dotted everywhere over the floor was a yellow stone of no great value, and what some people would refer to as cat's eyes. Each one was engraved with a head of the Malay type. As their exploration continued, and they made their way further into the darkness of the subterranean tunnels and caves, they came upon carvings of mysterious hieroglyphics carved into stone tablets, urns, and even etched into the stone walls. The most fascinating discovery was yet to come, though, when they stumbled across a sort of communal crypt. It is claimed that in this crypt they found rows upon rows of actual mummies that, upon closer inspection, appeared as if they had been stuffed into shelves, which had been carved into solid stone walls. An unsettled Kincaid went on to explain the crypt and its contents in great detail by stating, "The tomb, or crypt in which the mummies were found, is one of the largest chambers discovered, with the walls slanting back at an angle of roughly 35 degrees. On these walls are tiers of mummified remains, with each one occupying a separate shelf. At the head of each cadaver is a small bench in which is placed copper cups and pieces of broken swords. Some of the mummies were covered with earth, and all were wrapped in a bark-type fabric. The urns and cups placed with the mummies on the lower tiers are crude and of lesser quality and design than those on the higher shelves, which are finer and more intricate in design. This indicates a later stage of the civilization. It is important to note that all of the mummies examined so far have proved to be male, with no evidence of females or young being buried there. This would lead to the belief that this exterior section was the warrior barracks. Some areas were even more daunting and eerie, to the point that they were possibly dangerous. One of these places created such a feeling of dread and fear that when one reads Kincaid's description, you can't help but think of George Lucas's Raiders of the Lost Ark. He stated, "There is one chamber of the passageway to which it is not ventilated, and when we approached it, a deadly, snaky smell struck us. Our light would not penetrate the gloom, and until stronger ones are available, we will not know what the chamber contains. Some say snakes, but others boo-hoo this idea and think it may contain a deadly gas or chemicals used by the ancients. No sounds are heard, but it smells snaky just the same. The whole underground installation gives one of shaky nerves the creeps. The gloom is like a weight on one's shoulders, and our flashlight and candles only make the darkness blacker. Imagination can reveal in conjectures and ungodly daydreams back through the ages that elapsed till the mind reels dizzily in space." According to the claims, they also found a huge dining hall with various cooking utensils along with barracks and sleeping quarters. The professed discovery of this covert and hidden city was so advanced and extensive that Kincaid and his contingent hypothesized that there was easily enough space in the facility to comfortably accommodate about 50,000 inhabitants. Who these people were is a mystery, and can only be speculated on. Kincaid's own theory was that the natives of the region descended from these people, and that the mysterious civilization was there thousands of years before. He believed they were a reclusive race who advanced and developed in solitude. Other theories of the time include that the newspaper article itself speculated that these people could have possibly come straight from Egypt, thus proving that the Egyptians had made their way to the New World. The whole epic tale is definitely dramatic as it unfolds, and for some, the notion of a lost civilization from possibly Egypt or Tibet living underneath the Grand Canyon seems ridiculous, but to those readers in 1909, it most certainly would have captivated their imaginations. While there are no anthropological records to substantiate this story, or indeed nothing to prove that Kincaid himself ever existed, the descriptions are very detailed and the newspaper article is very real. If there is any authenticity to this proclaimed discovery, then what was the objective of this chilling place, if it really truly existed at all? Kincaid and his colleagues never really gave any in-depth opinion on this, but one thing is for certain. If this tale is real, It will cast a dubious eye on what is fed to us as our history and certainly shake the foundations of historical dogma as we know it.